Welcome to Hollywood Deli. I'm your host, Blue. So listen, we're gonna still talk about Martin Luther King Day because it was overshadowed by the Trump stuff. And so I thought, let's talk about it. What do we know? Sexy Red poses with a AI generated Martin Luther King post. And it seemed like they were gazing eyes in an intimate moment. And my first thought is she's young and dumb. She has no idea. Clearly, she has no education on who Martin Luther King is. So I dug a little bit into Sexy Red because I don't really follow her, and I looked up her age. She is 26 with two kids. She's too old for this. Too old to be doing buffoonery like this. But that seems like the theme that's going on. And we'll get back to Mr. Snoop Dogg because Mr. Snoop Dogg had a response to our critiquing of him doing that performance at that inauguration celebration. Anyhow, so I think she doesn't understand, who Martin Luther King is. And instead of Bernice King, Martin Luther King's daughter, yelling at her and saying these things, this is intentionally distasteful, dishonoring, deplorable. I mean, how many D's you gonna use? And disrespectful to my family and my father, who is not here to respond himself because he was assassinated for working for your civil and human rights and to end war and poverty. Okay. All right. So let's look at what she said. His mission. Okay. Let's read about his mission because there's a point to this. Let's go down there. So Martin Luther King's mission was to seek equality and human rights for African Americans, the equitably disadvantaged, and all victims of injustice through peaceful protest. He led a nonviolent movement in the late 1950s and 60s to achieve legal equality for African Americans in the United States, drawing inspiration from both his Christian faith and the peaceful teaching of Gandhi. King won the Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolent resistance in 1964. In his final years, he expanded his focus to include oppositions towards poverty in Vietnam. That's when King got killed. When he started to talk about money and trying to educate black people on how to bring their money together and um, be equitable and whatnot, that's when they killed him. They were fine with him talking that kumbaya, peaceful protest, and all that. Yeah, they were violent towards him, but they didn't try. There was no like successful assassination tip. Um, sorry, assassination hits on him, and so because of him talking about money, that's what got him killed. But I want to go back to what I was saying about his approach and his mission. Nothing about what Bernice King did to Sexy Red was mimicking or mirroring what her father tried to instill in this peaceful protesting, peaceful, you know, communication, peaceful coming together and debating and trying to find a equal ground. I feel like she took an opportunity to lash out her feelings, and I understand it's still emotionally charging situation because your father, you lost him at a very young age. He was only 39 years old. He was younger than my age, and so I understand that how that could feel. But why not take that as an opportunity to educate Sexy Red? Why not say, you know what, Sexy Red? I could see as your elder that you are misinformed about my father. Let's have a meeting. I really want to sit with you. Why scold her publicly so harshly? I think sometimes in the black community we are just too harsh. We're too quick to judgment and we're too harsh with one another. Like give some opportunity for mistakes. Like let's not act like you've been perfect, Miss Bernice King. I'm sure you haven't done this thing perfect. There's not a perfect human being here. Okay. Um, Sexy Red did respond and said, "You ain't wrong. Never meant to disrespect your family. My apologies. Just reposted something I saw that I thought was innocent." And see, she didn't mean ill will towards your dad. It wasn't like she posted a picture of her twerking on him, because that's what Sexy Red does. Put her little butt in the air, twerk like a little dog. You know what I mean? So I just felt like it was an opportunity to, uh, educate with kindness. And her father stressed that, be kind, be peaceful to get things done because violence never solves anything. And becoming verbally aggressive with her like that, I just felt like that was distasteful. Yes, what she did was distasteful in regards to your father's memory, but your response to it was very distasteful. So anyway, let's talk about Mr. Snoop Dogg. So Snoop Dogg allegedly responded. This is from my fiance Chris from the street, and he said that Snoop said that the um, performance he did was not a Trump performance. He said uh, it was about Bitcoin and that the performance was sponsored by Trump. Tomatoes, tomato. Okay, Snoop, save it. You had this big thing to say about I'm not even gonna go there about Trump and how people are house Negroes, in particular Kanye West. And now you're trying to spin it because you got a couple of dollars. Oh, well, Trump was just indirectly attached to it. Well, at least Nelly was honest, was like, I took it as an honor. Like, that's how he feels. He felt honored to the office. He's trying to say the office because he doesn't want to be like honored to Trump. But when you say the office, you're talking about Trump. So you were honored to perform for Trump. You were honored to do it. Now I don't care for Nelly anymore. He doesn't make any new music really anyway. I haven't heard anything new from Nelly, so if he did, I wouldn't know. And so he's not in the playlist, so it really doesn't matter at this point. So Nelly, do whatever jigaboo shit you need to do. You only hurt those people that are so delusional to call you and Ashanti relationship goals, but I digress. But let's talk about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe once again did it again. When I first saw Shannon had on Sheryl Underwood, I was like, what's the point of her on there? Oh, did I forget about the big fight that she had with Sharon Osbourne? Remember Sharon Osbourne, y'all? Sharon supported her racist friend. I'm not even going to explain. I'm going to let this audio here play so you can hear what she supported. If I can get it to play. So hold on, y'all.
Number 4, Sharon Osbourne. A March 2021 episode of The Talk saw Osbourne and her co-host debating Piers Morgan's comments about Meghan Markle.
If you have one parent is white, one parent is black, what color could your baby be? Let me finish.
Osbourne supported Morgan and publicly feared that she would be considered racist as a result. CBS conducted an internal investigation stating that Osbourne's behavior, quote, did not align with our values for a respectful workplace. The talk subsequently went on hiatus, and Osbourne permanently departed the show.
Now, y'all, if y'all don't remember seeing it, so what happened was they were talking about Piers Morgan's remarks because Piers Morgan is racist. Like, it's a known thing that he's racist. That's what he is. That's what he likes to do. So she's friends with him, and she felt like she needed to stick up for her friend, which is fine. You can stick up for your friend, but you got to remember when you stick up for your friend, you may lose your job. Okay, and so um, Sheryl Underwood, I'm sorry, took offense to what she was saying. And because Sharon thinks that Cheryl, should go with what she's saying, she became very, very upset with Cheryl. So much so, she became so verbally aggressive with Cheryl, and then Cheryl started crying. And Cheryl did what they do when they are wrong, but I'm not saying Cheryl was wrong in this instance, but Cheryl was crying because she was upset, obviously, and she was trying to explain why her supporting Piers was offensive, but she did not want to hear it. So Cheryl goes on, does the best thing that she could do. She didn't react to Sharon because Sharon was trying to antagonize. Because I think Sharon realized that she messed up, and she's like, "Well, since I messed up, I gotta take her with me. She's going to go with me." And Cheryl did not. I'm keep messing up because they both got S names, but Cheryl did not take the bait. Let's hear what she had to say on Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, my buddy. Co-host in that moment.
Start over.
Back in December of 1991. Back in December.
You did have a public fallout.
Yes.
I have obviously had a very public fallout.
Yeah,
My
buddy.
co-host in that moment. Was it what she said or was it who said it?
You know me, Shannon.
Hmm.
You know if somebody's yelling at me, I'm not crying because you hurt me. I'm crying because I can't say what
What I
I
want to
want to
say.
say.
It ain't just what she say, what she want to say. She want to whoop that lady's ass.
Just like when somebody told you,
Put my glasses back.
there you go.
Hmm.
What would you have wanted to do? Old Shannon.
I wouldn't have had the show. I wouldn't be on ESPN. I wouldn't have anything.
Because God was preparing you.
Yes.
You
But before Cheryl goes down this uh minutes, this whole like sermon, they like to do that when those privileged people like Sharon Osbourne and Skip Bayless, they know that they're privileged and they can mess up in this country and get more opportunities. We know that we can't, and they know that, and so they will test the boundaries with you to make to help you make a mistake. And Dr. King knew that as well, and so that's why he took the nonviolent approach because he knew he couldn't respond violently because of who he was. It would be twisted. The narratives would twist it and wouldn't focus on the mission. And so Cheryl and Shannon both aligned where they were put in these positions where their white coworkers tested the boundaries with them and put them in a position where they would would be feel disrespected to the point that they would physically react because that's what they think we always resort to. They like even though they got the history of being the most violent um people population of people, they love to spin the narrative that black women are angry, black men are aggressive and angry too. And so they'll do stuff to you, pull back, watch you respond, and then be like, see, I told you they were violent. I told you, never and like completely ignore all the anecdotes that happened that they created to cause the reaction. But it's not about the behaviors before when it comes to them, but, but when it comes to us, it is. But it's about our response to it. And so Cheryl played it so well, and I was so proud of her. And everything that she's spilling in this interview is how I felt when she handled it the right way.
will face this obstacle somewhere else. And that's why you see me sit there. And when I hear when she's yelling, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? And I turn to the camera and go, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. That let the
Right?
world know she's ready to be here. But also, I represent every black woman
Correct.
in the world. We cannot.
And that's what black women do not understand. Even though you don't want to represent the race you do, it's just innate. And in this country, we don't get the opportunities like they do. We get vilified for the smallest infraction. You see how many of us are in jail for life sentences for nonviolent crimes, and they will murder their whole family and not get nearly the amount of time we get. But I digress. She understands her place in our community, and that's why I respect her. But also, not to, and this is not to tear anybody down, Cheryl is a educated black woman who has degrees and probably had worked in a really professional setting. And so those jobs that she probably had prior to becoming famous prepared her for this type of challenge. Like she was on national TV. There's a lot of pride that we hold as people, and we hold disrespect in a high regard in how we respond and feel. And she knew that she had to handle this in a different way because all the black girls around the world were watching her, and she handled it the right way.
Not be seen as the angry black woman
Right.
because
Right.
now you messing up somebody
Somebody
else's
else's
job
opportunity.
Right.
somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? But I was prepared for that. I didn't do anything wrong. Matter of fact, I'm trying to articulate this in a different way.
In a way
What
that you could
would you say?
understand.
Right. What would you say to people who think that? But if an explosion
Right.
occurs, what would have been the best thing to do? Come back and hug it out after commercial.
Hmm.
Am I right?
Yes.
That would have been daytime gold,
Right.
wouldn't it? Okay. See, that takes two to have an altercation,
Right.
right?
It also
But
takes two to reconcile too.
absolutely.
And see, Cheryl knew how to play the game. She knew One, Sharon was aggressive. Two, let me cry to show how affected I am by the behavior of Cheryl by Sharon. Because if she didn't cry, I don't think that Sharon would have been fired. I think she would have just gave a cockamamie apology, and then they would have been letting her back on the show. But because I believe that because Cheryl Underwood cried, that's why she got fired. And honestly, Cheryl played a them on them because they will do this type of behavior. Right now, my supervisor was she's not she's African American female. Well, she's not African American. She's African in descent, but she's from Trinidad. I'm sorry, not Trinidad, Barbados. And right now, she's the only black woman in her position. Rest of them are white. They isolate her. They don't try to include her. She tries to like, be include them. They shun her, and she's being ostracized and bullied and targeted because of who she is. And the thing that they continuously do is this: they'll do mean stuff to her, try to make her look bad, and then come back and say, "Oh, how are you doing?" Trying to, rub it in the fact that they got her in trouble. And so they want her to respond, but she understands that she can't. And so she's been handling this really well. And I've been trying to be a support to her as she maneuvers this situation. But this is the type of stuff that Sharon Underwood experienced. We all African American women in the workforce are experiencing.
Absolutely. And if you reconcile on air, everybody, kumbaya moment, right? But
Right. And it's not for Cheryl Underwood, who's not wrong, to save her job. The way that Sharon phrased it and positioned it as if they were friends and how could she do this to me, and made it seem like Cheryl was the one that made her lose her job. No, your behaviors made you lose your job. And you thought Cheryl was supposed to back you in some type of way after you disrespected her. It's the level of entitlement that is innate in those type of people.
if you double down on it, and if you type in right now, there are things being said that I will not answer. Why? One, I'm not going to go tit for tat and keep something
Going.
going. I'm going to go on to the greatness that God is opening doors for all of
Hmm.
us.
Right.
If you don't look inside yourself and get better, right? But me sitting up there arguing with my colleague who I care for. And then after that, she makes a special. And after that, she continues to say things, recently say things. Come on, Cheryl.
Yeah.
What you gonna keep doing? Because it's
I
like a
ain't fin-
man. Do
I
you?
mean, look, my grandma used to say, "Boy, stirring up old poop, it still stink."
That's it.
So
That's it.
that
I
was
like
my
that.
thing. It wasn't what he said.
Yes,
It was who said it.
that's right.
I've been sitting across from this man for 6 years.
There
I
it is.
thought, look, are we best friends?
Yeah.
No, but I thought we had the type of relationship that was respectful.
There you
And
go.
you would give me a certain level of respect as I've always given you.
That's right.
That's all I ask. I don't ask anything more. I'm not saying you have to be my best friend.
That's
We
right.
don't have to hang out. We ain't got to go to dinner. You ain't coming to my house. I'm
That's
not going to
right.
yours.
That's
But
right.
at least we can be cordial. We can be respectful of one another.
Sometimes you find out who you thought was your friend
Hmm.
is really your coworker.
Yep.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely
And
right.
then you find out because we all gonna step in it again.
Yes.
This is where talk show is.
Yeah.
You probably said stuff, I say stuff
Yes.
that the community is mad about.
Right.
But on those days where the community, we rode hard for you.
Yes.
We was on. I wish I would.
Right.
Wish.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
They
And
absolutely.
you held it together, and so did I. Type it. They was on it. Nothing. But I would afford somebody grace and forgiveness, just like I would want grace and forgiveness to be afforded
Right.
to me. And I feel like the only thing is the trolling, the people who, these.
You know what? For real, the one who keeps the trolling of her going is Sharon Osbourne. She has, like she said, she did specials and continues to do interviews. But also, you know the game, Cheryl. You know the reason why she's doing it. She ain't got nothing else. She ain't got nothing else. She thought that she was such a big part of that show that she could do what she did. And she got real comfortable. She failed to realize that she was replaceable just like everybody on that panel. And that was where she went wrong. Thinking that her privilege would outpower, the situation. But she failed to realize this, that when you put the business at risk and you are seen as a risk, not just a liability, whether it be just morally, ethically. No company wants that on their in their business. And so I already knew she was going to get rid of herself because she did not immediately apologize, nor did she, she just didn't show any remorse at all for her behavior and just doubled down on it. So, you live and you learn, don't you? Anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, make sure you leave 5-star rating, and y'all have a good night.